Fernanda, thank you so much for joining me here at Davos.
Thank you for having me.
So I just wanted, within the week, take a look back. We hear so much about leaders being still very, very occupied with the volatility of the world economy, the question of how global trade develops, AI, obviously, climate change. But I'm really curious to hear what you've been focusing on in these past days.
I've been focusing on a few things, of course, related to the nature of my job. So leading Africa and Asia in Yara, which is a fertilizer company. So a lot of my engagements have to do with food security, transitioning the food system to a more sustainable system. A lot of talks also on decarbonization and regenerative agriculture. So I have participated in smaller forums, larger forums, have met some government officials, NGOs, and wider stakeholders. To talk about it, because I think one of the great things about Davos is it's a forum where you can bring awareness, right, about those issues. So I don't think many people understand that all these geopolitical issues that we are facing today, they are intrinsically linked with food and food security, be it the conflicts in the Middle East or the Russian-Ukraine war. So Davos is really an opportunity for companies like mine to bring awareness and hopefully find some great solutions as well.
You mentioned geopolitics, and I remember a recent conversation we had, and you said, look, if you look at all the geopolitical dynamics in the world, so many people want to speak, but only very few want to listen. Now we're headed into 2024 that doesn't look much calmer from a geopolitical perspective than 2023 did. So what would your advice be for business leaders?
I think that in business, it's like in diplomacy, listening is still the best skill. So particularly in my corner of the world, I live in Asia, as you know. I see a lot of leaders being confronted with the questions around China, for example. Should I be in China? I also lead Africa and leaders thinking about, will I ever make money in Africa? Will this ever be profitable? And so on. So I feel that many leaders, they mix their political views or their personal views with facts around business, right? I feel that making decisions that are factual and not based on, a personal political views, I think that's still the best for the business. At least that's how I try to do it.
Yeah, and I'd like to come back to something you said before. You mentioned, your own passion, Yara's passion, obviously, about food security, sustainability. If you look back at the last big gathering, COP28 has just happened. It actually didn't get a lot of media attention on the progress achieved.
I'm an optimist, so I actually think that COP28 had some good outcomes. It was the first time that fossil fuels were actually officially recognized as the source or as the root cause for the climate issues that we are facing today. I think there were some good pledges and charters that were signed, for example, renewable energy and also oil producing countries and companies also exactly methane signing this charter, right, and committing to transitioning away from fossil fuels into a net zero situation. Of course, a lot of people still criticized and said, okay, transitioning away is not the same as phasing out. But I think it's better than nothing, right? Because the alternative would be to not have that pledge signed at all. So I think it didn't get much publicity, but I think some good things came out of it. As for Davos, it's much more, at least the way I see, it's much more business focused, right? So COP is very much at the government, at the politician level, and here you have businesses and other entities coming together and trying to find solutions. I think that's my expectation for Davos, that we move a bit from thought leadership into action leadership, that we get out of here with many more concrete plans on how to resolve sustainability issues. For example, in my case, in the food system, versus what has happened in the previous years. So I'm hopeful.
So if I can stay on action leadership for a moment, but broaden the aperture, you've always been very passionate about what leadership skills the next generation of leaders needs. You've been passionate about driving transformation in your own company, but also more broadly. If you look at the state of the world today, that's so much at the focus of this Davos as in all gatherings, what do you believe are the transformational leadership skills that really matter today?
I think it's still about curiosity. If you're going to drive transformation, you need to be curious about the new, about what is out there that you're not tackling yet. It's about cultural intelligence. So we talked a bit about right how to operate in different parts of the world. So it's about making sure that despite these geopolitical issues that we are facing, that your teams remain united, right, and committed to your strategy and to your mission. It is about agility. I know it's a word that a lot of people like to use, but I do believe that leadership without agility these days, it's not going to work, because things are changing so fast all the time. I mean, look at the past 3 years, right, that we've had in business. So you need to adapt very, very quickly, and be resilient. Resilient not only to withstand pressure, but also to resist the temptation to go back or stop your transformation or scale down your transformation and do things in the old way just because they're comfortable. Sometimes it's very tempting to stop chartering the path of transformation and just, let me do things as we've always done. But I think we need to be resilient and resist that, because otherwise we're never going to transform what we need to transform in business and in society.
So, Fernanda, thank you so much for joining me, for sharing your expectations and impressions from this Davos, and have a very good week.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great week, you too.
Thank you.
Thanks.